Yeah, so this video is opening with Turrican 2, and why not? And what I'm going to do is Retrobrite the keys. These keys, because they are so yellow, it is unbelievable. Oh my god, where am I going down here? Apart from that, as you can see, the Amiga works okay. It's got a bit of a dodgy floppy drive, so some games and stuff aren't loading. But other than that, yeah, this Amiga 1200 is really good. Usually when I do the keys, I would put them in hair cream, and then I'd put them in little bags. And I've had quite a lot of success with that, putting them under a UV light. But now I've got my new aquarium heater. I'm going to try this new aquarium heater method. Basically, I'm going to give them a clean first, because these are actually quite dirty. Put them in a bag of liquid hydrogen peroxide, and then I'm going to put those in a vat of like warmish water, and I'm just going to leave them like that and see if I can just get a nice retrobriting effect on the keys quite easily. So I've tested out the equipment before, the tub of slightly warm water video, and now it's time to put it into effect. I'm hoping that if it doesn't work, it just at least gives me the keys back in a nice state and it won't ruin anything basically. But yeah, that's the plan. Oh no! So yeah, you can see there that the keys are pretty grubby, so they're going to need a clean up before I do anything with them. There's a few keys down here that have got some green paint on them. I don't know why, there was a bit of that on the case as well, so I'll see if I can clean that off as well. I've got to take this apart and pull all the keys off, trying not to lose any of the springs because the springs just ping out. I'll just do a time lapse of all that basically. These keys are quite nastily yellow, and not evenly yellow either. You can see like the disparity between the colours, and that's on most of the edges of these keys. They've all got like, you know, that's the original colour down there. The original colour's inside and just not really on the front edge. So they're all pretty yellow. Even the brown ones have just got so much yellow on them. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, and this A key is the one with the green on it, so I've got to give all these a scrub. The spacebar was so hard to get off. I was really pulling at it. I think one of the shift keys was also really hard to get off as well. That's quite yellow on one side, and then on the other, not so yellow. And the other thing is dust that's in the keyboard. There's quite a lot in there, so I'm going to hoover all it out. There's these two little spots on the keyboard here where you get a different spring in each one of those. Keep those springs separate from the rest, just so you can find them later on. But I actually got a bonus because I think they actually put two springs in one. So I've actually got a spare spring there because they just loaded two into one slot for some reason. So yeah, next job is to give these a scrub because these are particularly dirty in there. Like that U key's got so much scum on the top. But they are quite scummy. There's dirt on the sides as well. So they're all going to need a bit of a scrubbing in some soapy water. That is a significant improvement. A bit of liquid might have been spilt in here somewhere, little bits of liquid, but this keyboard's fully functional, so it's in pretty good shape. Nothing's actually broken in it. Oh, I think that's too much fairy liquid. The green paint that was on a couple of the keys, that just scrubbed off with a brush. So they're all looking really good. So the plan now is to put all these in a little Ziploc plastic bag and fill this with liquid hydrogen peroxide, and then I'm going to place this in a vat of warm water for a while. I'm going to take these little stabilizer bars off because I think the hydrogen peroxide might cause corrosion on those. It seems to not like metal very much. So I think there's like 7 keys, like the space bar, that have all got these little stabilizers on. So let me just find all those and take them off. So I think that's all the stabilizers removed. Now I can just stick these in this little bag. It's very thin, this bag. Hopefully it'll be all right. Does the space bar fit? Yes, it does. That's the main thing. Right, that is quite the bag of keys. So this is the tub. I might need to just prop one end up just to get it a bit more level. This is the little crappy heater that's going to go in the bottom. And we'll just put some warm water in there just to get it going, because in the previous experiment it took ages to heat up. So I'm going to preheat some water, in this case just tap water. Right, so that's my slightly warm water. I can turn the heater on now. So it's set to 34 and it's saying the water temperature is 28. So we'll keep an eye on that. As somebody pointed out in the comments, it might kill me. And this is the 12% hydrogen peroxide, and I'm just going to pour some in this bag, and then I'm going to put the bag in the water. So that's that then. So this just goes in the water and hopefully it doesn't leak, but we shall see. There we go. Don't know if this is going to work. I've got no idea. The water's at 32 degrees. 32 degrees. Okay. I can already see bubbles starting to form in this. Just try and keep some of the heat in. And I suppose I'll come back after a bit and just jiggle the keys about. Right, now we wait. Right, so these have been in for about 10 hours. And maybe you can see here, but they are significantly whiter. They're still not the correct colour. So you can see underneath they're still white, and that's not really the correct colour yet. So it's definitely working, it's had a big effect, but it's still not right. I can probably just leave these in here for longer. It'd be really nice if this just worked on its own, just if you leave it for long enough. One of the things I did do though, I came back after 4 hours and I noticed that the water over here was quite a bit colder than the water over here. It is now actually. So one of the things I did is I covered it over and just put a bath towel over the whole thing to try and keep the heat in on all sides. It's working, but it's taking a long time, and maybe that was to be expected because this thing can only get to 34 degrees. So maybe this will just take quite a while. But if it doesn't ever get to the actual correct colour, then it doesn't really work. So in they go for longer. Yeah, and that's just the bath towel that I've been using just to keep it a bit warmer. So in hindsight, this box probably could have done with a little bit of insulation. So that's something to consider. Okay, so believe it or not, it's been 37 hours since I put these in. They are looking pretty good, but they are also still yellow. That is unbelievable. They are getting closer and closer all the time, but you can still see the yellow lines like on that page up there. I think what I'm going to do now is maybe I'll refresh the hydrogen peroxide. I've noticed this doesn't fizz anymore. I don't know if that's a sign. So yeah, I'm going to refresh the hydrogen peroxide and then I'm going to stick them back in. Okay, so a quick recap on everything that happened. This is straight after I put them in. You can see the keys here are super yellow before I started. And this is after 4 hours in the water with the heater. And yeah, you can still see the yellow lines quite clearly on them there. So after 10 hours, they're looking a bit better. Still got yellow marks, so there's still like discrete yellow lines between the top and the bottom of that key there. This is after 18 hours. They are starting to look better. The lines are starting to really fade, like the yellow lines, but they're still clearly visible, and there's clearly a difference between the top of the key and the inside where it hasn't gone yellow. So you can still see the line on that key down here. So that one there still got it. So this one's after 28 hours. Again, I think they have improved, and some of the keys actually look okay, but they're still yellow. So you can see there's a key over here that looks quite white, but then the C key next to it's still quite yellow, and the lines are getting very fuzzy now where it had that discrete line. That's kind of gone very fuzzy now, and it's just left with kind of a yellowish mark. So some keys look all right, but most of them don't. Then this one's after 37 hours, and again, I think they have improved, but they still haven't, the top of the key still hasn't reached what it should have been from the underneath. You can see this key in the middle here has still got the yellow marks on it, and the underneath next to it is the correct color. 43 hours, and yeah, it's getting better, but you can see here again it's still yellow. So this is the point where I'm thinking I'm probably going to call this a day here, because 50 hours is just a long time to leave these things in here. And they were improving, but you can see there from the insert, that's the 0 key from the number pad, that it's still really yellow compared to that one that's right next to it, which appears to be kind of the right color, and even the underneath of these keys. So it's definitely working, but after 50 hours, I think it's too much for me, and I've decided to call it a day on that. That key there is just still yellow, yet the one next to it's gone quite white. So it's working better on some and not others. Oh, you can still see the line on that one. So that's after 50 hours, it still hasn't really worked. Oh yeah, and that one as well. So this is when I decided, right, I am going to add the UV light to this. So I've actually got 2 of these tubs. I just got a second one, put some tin foil in the bottom of that, and then just popped the other one straight in on top of it. And then I put this UV light over the top, and then I covered it with the bath towels just to keep it warm like I did before. So I'll continue on with the video now, and you'll just get to see what happened. So they've been in here for about 4 hours now. This is crazy. Like, this didn't happen before when I just had the heater and not the UV light, but this thing blows up like a balloon in here. This comes out like a little balloon. Oh, it's so big it nearly doesn't fit. Oh wow, that is crazy. And if we have a look at them, I don't know, I think they might be done now. They are looking quite done. Hopefully this isn't leaking. I can still see a little bit of yellow. So they're not perfect, but they've got a lot better. And the outside is starting to match. I might maybe give them a little bit longer. Or should I just call that done? Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I think there's a few keys that are still a little bit yellow. Might just give them 1 more hour. So they've only been in 4 hours with the UV light, and it seems to be basically that's the key, is that, I don't know though, because it's so warm under there. I've still got the heater on, but the water hasn't gone over temperature because it has an alarm if it goes 3 degrees over the 34-degree temperature. It's pretty done. They could just go just a shade lighter. Let's give them 1 more hour, and then I'm going to take them out. Okay, so here's the finished result. These keys have come out really well, and my God, did it take a long time. I wish I'd have put that UV lamp on at the start, but in the end, I just wanted to see if it would work. And it kind of does. The aquarium heater does work, but just not fast enough. I think they would have been in there for a week. So yeah, these look really good. I haven't got much to complain about. And even if they don't stay this way, it'll be really good to just, you know, have them at least this bright for a while. And on that subject, this is an Amiga 600 that I retrobrited in July 2020, and it's now November 2021. And I seem to remember that these keys were quite bright when it was done, and if you look now, the difference is quite large compared to these ones that have just been done. So the 600 and 1200 keys are very similarly coloured. But yeah, you can really see there that this thing's really starting to fade. I don't think it's really gone back to what it was before, but this one's gone pretty yellow. So this is like over a year after the Retrobrite's been done. So the Retrobrite's not permanent, but I'd still rather do this than not, because those yellow keys just look awful. So the only thing left to do now is just to put all these back together. This looks so much better than before. I was so used to seeing those horrible yellow keys on that Amiga, it was starting to think it was going to look like that forever. But this does look really good. I'm very pleased. It did take a lifetime. Yeah, trying to retrobrite with that aquarium heater that only goes up to 34 degrees C was just really hard. I really wanted it to work, but it didn't. I gave it like over 50 hours and it just wasn't going to work. But it seems like that in combination with the UV did the job. I'm not even sure if it's just the heat from the UV lamp that's helping it out, because it just got hotter in there. The water temperature didn't go up, but it was definitely hotter if you put your hand under the lamp. It was completely different. But either way, it's all come good. And for the record, I have the evidence now that you can Retrobrite with an aquarium heater. It will take a long time. If you're willing to wait, it'll probably work. But even in the end, even I just couldn't wait any longer for it to just get rid of that last bit of yellow. But yeah, these look amazing. So if I wanted to, I could do a similar thing with the case. The case is a little yellower than the keys, but I don't mind the look of that now. That looks fine to me. The keys were the main thing. So I hope you learned something there, is that you can Retrobrite without a UV light, which I think we knew. You can do it with a cheap aquarium heater, which will work. It will just take a lifetime. So the good news about that is the way I've done that is a perfectly good way of just doing a whole case as well. Just immersing the whole case in hydrogen peroxide. Like, I could do this case if I wanted to, but like I said, I'm not that interested. I'm quite happy with the look of this now, so that's really good. So the longest Retrobrite I've ever done, hopefully, and ever will do. I don't want to do one longer than that. That was getting crazy. But I'm glad I did it. It's proved a point to me that I can do it with a small amount of heat. I do kind of wonder if I'd had a heater that would go up to, like, say 50 degrees, if that would have been significantly better and could have got it done in, like, you know, 24 hours or something like that. That would have been nice. But as it stands, there it is. Lesson learned. If you want to Retrobrite with an aquarium heater, it's going to take a long time. This Amiga is looking really good now. The next thing to do is I've ordered 3.2 ROM and Workbench 3.2. Is it called Workbench 3.2 still, or is it called Amiga OS? Amiga OS 3.2 anyway. I've ordered that, and I've ordered new ROMs for it. And I'm going to put a hard disk in it as well. And then I'll get all that working on there. So that'll be the next job. Upgrade the ROMs, put a hard disk in, and install not Workbench or Amiga OS. So yeah, that'll be the next job. But these keys look great. I wonder how long they'll stay like this for. They probably won't stay like this forever, but they were really horrible before, and I don't think they'll ever go back to that. Not in the next 30 years, probably. So there it is. That's just the whole aquarium-like Retrobrite of these keys, but in a way that you could do it with the case as well.